Hi, and welcome to Asteria's Convos, where we are community, building the future. I'm your host, Asteria Elzea, hosting from land currently known as Los Angeles that has been tended for thousands of years by the Tongva and Chumash peoples. I owe everything I am to lands in the traditional territories of the Sauk and Fox nations. I acknowledge these ancestral tenders as a truth practice and reminder of the violence in our shared history, which has privileged myself and my farmer ancestors. Other identities I lead with are white, gender nonconforming, bisexual, and polyamorous. I'm newly discovered neurodivergent. I have CPTSD, severe generalized anxiety, and am chronically ill with Ehlers-Danlos. I've trained in connection and community building with Desiree Attaway, Beautiful You Coaching Academy, and in Carmen Spaniola's attachment-based, trauma-informed facilitation method. I have a work history in special events and as a stagehand. Plus, I'm a certified data analyst and practicing witch. I hope to explore all these topics and more on Asteria's Convos. So here we go! Hi, welcome to Asteria's Convos, where we're community building the future. We're going to introduce today's guest. Who are you? Your name and pronouns, and what identities do you lead with? And I'm going to light a candle while you answer the questions.
Hi, my name is Laura Brody. Full name is Anna Laura Brody, and some of my dear friends call me that. Mostly I go by Laura Brody. Pronouns she, her. And wow, identities, that's always tricky for me, but I definitely identify with a chronic illness community and a fairly non-practicing, non-dietist Judaism.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And what's your work in the world, Laura?
The things that I've been really concentrating on, because originally a lot of the work that I'd been doing was costuming. I've been doing that for many, many years. But I have over time had to change a lot of that, primarily because of chemical sensitivities and just it not working very well with my own health. And over the past year and a half, there's been almost no television costuming. I moved into kids' TV for a while because that seemed like that was the best fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've been doing and really focusing on over the past 10 years is Opulent Mobility, which is an exhibit series that I founded, which asks artists to reimagine disability as opulent and powerful, and building that up more as a community. I also do mending, visible mending and otherwise, and sewing, teaching that to people right now in elder care facilities and at the Hollywood Food Coalition.
Wonderful. And how do you build community while you're doing this work, Laura?
It's a real blend. Like the more that I've been getting into curating exhibits, curating shows, it's very much about building community. I've been also doing ones that are based on goddesses over the past couple of years. And that brings in a specific type of community because you need to bring in the people from all walks of life to try to really focus on a topic, right? With the disability one, that's brought its own group of people because I keep bringing people back and trying to find out what the artists are doing to support them, to promote them, to find out more about what's going on with their lives. And as I've done that, the community has been growing stronger. It's slow, it takes time. It's a process, but I seek people out and then find the people that we can work with and then really try to support them, and hopefully we support each other.
Yeah. How do you seek people out?
Several different ways, but actually Instagram's been really helpful for that, of all things. But it varies. Some of that is finding different disability communities and disability art communities. That's been very specific. For other ones, I ask around. I know a lot of people who are in different varieties of advocacy movements and social justice movements and find those people to do some of the other work. and ask each person wherever I can, like, who would you recommend? Who would you like to bring in? Who should I know more about? And
Yeah.
I keep doing more of that because that's very effective.
Very intentional.
Yeah, it is. The whole idea is, who can I work with? Who can we create something bigger than ourselves together?
Yeah. And how do you identify those people?
I mean, to start, of course, I'm looking up disabled artists.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I'm looking up people who are, say, trying to develop art programs for people who are in need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
But
Instagram?
sometimes on Instagram, sometimes it's research online, sometimes it's just by asking people, sometimes it's usually less direct than I think.
Okay.
I'll find a few things that are direct, but usually it's, I'll go to one area and then
Mhm.
it leads me to another one. But the most interesting one, and something I didn't think was going to happen, is that the more I actually promote my own artwork and the more I put my own self out there, the more people find me.
Oh, wow. Tell us more about that.
So I hadn't necessarily thought of it because I'm thinking I'm promoting the show, not me.
Hmm.
But each time that I put it out, because a lot of my artwork deals with these topics, more people will find me. And it's, I don't know, that is by entering into shows, by putting up things onto podcasts, by going and trying to find magazines that do art that might relate to it, people's blogs.
Yeah. One of
So,
my favorite coaches had told me about marketing. Tell people there's a door.
yeah,
And it sounds like that's what you're doing with your work. You're
yeah.
telling people you exist and then they find you.
And then they find me, and it works that way. Partially because that world is not that large,
Hmm. Hmm.
but really any community that you're really trying to find is like that. I think I just truly believe that you can't ever reach everyone. Try
Right.
to find the people you care the most about, and that seems to be pretty effective. You know, it's slow often,
Hmm.
but after, it'll be 10 years next year. The 10 years of doing Opulent Mobility. And now I'm finally having people kind of seek me out,
Yeah.
you know. But that's how that works sometimes. Sometimes it takes that long for something like that to grow.
And I definitely think over those 10 years that culture's changed too.
Absolutely. It has. People are a lot more open about disability. They're a lot more willing to talk about it. They're a lot more willing to talk about the intersections of disability and
Mm.
many, many, many other identities. Because since that affects, like, easily 1 in 4 people,
Yeah.
whether or not you are aware of it, it affects everything and intersects with all the other aspects of what make us human. So that is race, and that is class, and that is gender, and that is identity, and that is so many other things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how are you looking towards the future with your actions, Laura?
It's interesting because, of course, right now we're in a time where some things are changing pretty dramatically.
Yes.
I'm trying to take a little bit of a step back and say, okay, what are the ways that I can reach? But I know that building up more with other people is what I'm going to need to do,
Hmm.
because I have a terrible tendency to take on too much myself. And what I need to do is to find ways to fund this and bring in more people so that we can build it and not have it be, I've always had help. I
Hmm.
shouldn't ever say that I always bring in help, but like a good 95% of it is my behind the scenes work.
Hmm.
So it's saying, okay, what do I need to do in order to make this feasible long term? And that means help
That
and
means
find,
help.
yeah. And it's useful to have built enough of a base to be able to get that, to start to get that.
Yeah. How have you built and expanded that base over time? Like, how have you seen the timely growth? Because you've been in this at this for
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah. Some of it is pure stubbornness. Pure, simple. What do you
Yeah,
mean you don't have an accessible space? Who
right.
do I talk to next? So each question leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing. And that the more stubborn and the more curious I got, the more open I was to more options and to other people who are doing maybe not this work, but other work. So this dovetails very clearly into accessibility,
Mhm.
into ways of making things more accessible overall.
Yeah,
So of course it ties in. It can't not.
because it
So,
connects to everyone.
right?
Yeah.
And if it's not connecting to you now, it will.
Hmm.
You stick around long enough,
It
you
will.
stick around through any accident, anything, it will affect you. It's not even a question. It's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah.
So finding ways to reach that and reach the people varies. It varies a lot how I've been able to do it. But usually it is just being willing to ask the next question.
Yeah. I'm hearing a
And
lot of curiosity in your story.
it's like the best way that I know how to reach anything. To
Yeah.
just say, instead of just saying, it's all bad. Ah, people just suck. Okay, well, that's a terrible way to get anything to happen.
Okay. And,
and and
and,
and not all of them, and not at every moment. And I also can suck at any minute too. So,
right.
right?
And how do I make it easier for them? And how do I make things suck less? And
Yeah,
how do I make things better for everyone?
yeah. I think. I mean, it's just also a very firm belief that cynicism is a refuge of cowardice.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
Agreed.
know, and that is not a healthy or helpful way to deal with it. It's not that I don't ever suffer from it, but
Mhm.
it's there are always other doors. There's always another way to get in. And so if I try first off to let myself be disappointed when things don't work, because they don't a lot of the time. Allow that to happen, but also to say, okay, what else can I do?
Being
If there's
willing to try again.
and find some other way, because there usually is another way. And yeah. Um,
Creative problem solving.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh, at least when I started doing this, there just weren't very many people doing anything like it. There still aren't that many people doing anything like it. I tried very hard to find other people who would, so I could just partner with them. I really did.
Yeah.
I tried very hard. I'm like, wow, this isn't happening. Or they're nowhere near me. Or, okay, so I guess I better make it myself.
Yeah. Are
You
you
know,
still open to partnerships?
of course. And actually, I'm finding more of them because of being open to that. So, also through some of the artists that I've been working with, sometimes they are able to help me make things happen as well.
Hmm.
So that has been really terrific. It's always such a pleasure when I can hire the people
Right.
as well,
Yeah.
So finding more ways to do that would be terrific. And me. Yeah. But
Absolutely.
but yeah, I'm finding that the only way this is going to grow is through more partnerships. So that's absolutely what I am seeking out. And sometimes it's finding me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. And what are you here to promote?
Mm. Right now, Opulent Mobility 2024 is coming up next week. So the preview is going to be December 5th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Los Angeles Makery in downtown LA,
Hmm.
over in Little Tokyo. And that's going to be coinciding with the Makery's holiday market.
Hmm.
The 8th is the opening. And we're going to have live music from Tom Peters, which is music that can be experienced by both hearing and deaf people. So
Oh, that's
feeling the
cool.
bass through the feet. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm probably not going to release this till January.
it's okay. So
Okay, cool.
then let's talk about
What are
the
you
next,
here to promote?
the next The next thing that's coming up
Mhm.
next year is going to be a retrospective of Opulent Mobility artists, California-based ones, at Brand Library. And that is going to be in April
Okay.
25th through June 21st.
Where's
Which is
Brand Library?
It's over in Glendale, and it's a beautiful, beautiful building. At first glance, it does not look like it's wheelchair accessible because it's on a great big hill, but you can go around,
Mhm.
and there's wheelchair access, and we're going to be working on figuring out really good wayfinding signs because that's always tricky, right? To not only make it available to people, but make it, look, this we want you here.
Yeah.
Not, oh, you just come in the back door.
Right.
Yeah. But this is be a pretty decent sized show, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. I'd love to potentially talk about working with you on those wayfinding signs because I'm a painter
That would be delightful.
and I
'Cause I'd
love
like to do
painting
that.
signs.
I'd like to do a combination of that and braille signage so that we can
Yeah.
have that really and have it be delightful. That
Yeah.
like this is the way. This is your way. You know.
Yeah.
And because so often wheelchair accessible entrances are less than an afterthought, you know,
So hard to find.
so hard to find. Back in with a freight elevator, it's
Hmm.
the last thing anybody's thinking about,
Right.
except for the people, frankly, who need it. And when you look at that, like, how do you come on, if you have a stroller, if you have a cane, if you have a walker, you need that too. So let's
Hmm.
find ways to make it more accessible for everybody.
Yeah. There's so many ways that ramps are better than stairs or
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not like there's some places I understand where you'd have to tear the whole place down. This is not one of those cases. There are a
Right.
lot of times where you absolutely have that capacity.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you came here to talk to us.
thank you so much. This is delightful.
Thank you for coming. And we'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Asteria's Convos. You can find the links for this episode in the episode description. You can find me, Asteria Elzea, on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads as at asteria.elzea and on Blue Sky as at Asteria Elzea. Spell it Asteria dot Elzea. Please leave a review on your favorite podcast hosting service. That's the absolute best way for our community to grow. Remember, your actions create the future. All my love, Asteria Elzea.